Very good morning, participant and the distinguished guest. Today, we are joining again this wonderful webinar, which is started by Ministry of Tourism and also supported by Tourist Guide Federation of India. So this beautiful webinar, we always choose the wonderful destination and then we choose the wonderful speakers. Today, our webinar, the topic is Nalanda, the ancient seat of learning. In ancient India, there were several universities, but the three universities were renowned, and Nalanda was one of them. So as we all know, other than Nalanda, the Bikramshila and the Takshashila was also the renowned university in ancient India. Whenever we go for the destination, so we choose the locally best tourist guide. And this time, our presenter, Neeraj Kumar Singh, he is from Nalanda. He is regional level tourist guide. He is master in tourism management. Later, he worked for Sita and ANK. But in 2013, he was being selected as a regional level tourist guide. And since 2013, he is one of the best guide in Eastern region. So we are lucky today to have Neeraj Kumar Singh as a presenter. And he will present this beautiful webinar in 3 different steps. About that, he will explain you. So now here I am inviting Neeraj Kumar Singh to present this beautiful webinar. Neeraj Kumar Singh ji.
Hello, namaste. Good morning, everyone. My name is Neeraj Kumar Singh. I am from Nalanda, Bihar. Actually, Bihar Sharif is the hometown. And I'm very grateful to the Ministry of Tourism, Government of India, to giving me an opportunity to be the part of this, series of webinar under the banner of Dekho Apna Desh. And today I'm going to take you to the walk tour, virtual walk tour of Nalanda, the ancient seat of learning. And actually, before I sort of start this walk tour, I will, tell you that this whole session will be divided into 3 parts. First, I will let you know about the brief history of the Nalanda University, the ancient Nalanda University, because without knowing the history, when you go inside the premises of this Nalanda ruins, it will be just a brick structure. So it will be a bit complicated to understand everything. So you have to be carefully, listen the history first, and then we will go for the walk tour of a virtual walk tour of this beautiful ruins what we have today. So I'm going to start it. Nalanda, most of you must be knowing that, all of you must be knowing, I hope, that it is in the state of Bihar. And the word Bihar itself, come out from the word Vihar, which is a Sanskrit word, which means, Vihar means the place where monks live, that is monastery, what we call today. So once upon a time, during just from Mauryan era to Pala period, there were thousands of monasteries in Bihar, and today we can see it as a ruins mostly, of course. So that word Bihar itself comes from the word Vihar. So lots of things you will come to know about the word like Stupa, Vihara, Chaityas, I will let you know. So Nalanda, actually, it is situated 90 kilometers southeast of Patna, and about 85 km northwest of Bodh Gaya, and about 15 km north of Rajgir. Rajgir or Rajgriha was the ancient capital of Magadha. So in those days, Bihar was known as Magad, one of the most powerful Mahajanpada of this, 16 Mahajanpada, I would say. So from Magad, now it is known as Bihar, and UNESCO World Heritage Site, it is declared in the year 2016. Now, coming to the history of Nalanda. So from here, I will let you know about the important history of Nalanda. And it's a start from early days of Mahavihara and Buddha. So the history of Nalanda goes back to the days of Buddha and Mahavihara in 6th century BC. And, early Buddhist texts state that Buddha visited Nalanda quite often, and he used to deliver, a lecture or sermon at a village called Pavarika, okay, mango garden, mango groves of Pavarika. And one of the two great disciples of Buddha was actually from Nalanda. That is Sariputta, one of the most foremost disciple of Buddha, and Mahamogglayana, both were from Nalanda. So Sariputta had a very important place in the Sangha because of his wisdom. So it is very important place for both two disciples. So this is two important figure coming up from this particular place. And Sariputta also attained nirvana here. So today when you enter the ruins of the University of Nalanda, you will find the massive structure still today. That is the Sariputta Stupa, we call. So we will talk about that later. And it is said that Ashoka visited the place in 3rd century BC, and he built a small shrines and stupa at the place where Sariputta attained nirvana. So Ashoka visited the place, but there was no such university developed by that time in 3rd century BC, right? And according to Fahian, a great Chinese traveler who visited India around 399 CE, he also visited the place Nalanda, and he had seen that a stupa of Sariputta was in very good shape, but he didn't mention anything about the existence of Nalanda University by then. So it is clear by his travel log that Nalanda was not existing at around 400 CE. So the foundation, if you say about the university, when it's come up, then it is according to the Xuanzang, and again a very renowned Chinese traveler who visited India around 7th century CE, and he was one of the great a scholar who spent a couple of years in Nalanda. So according to his travel log, it is mentioned that probably this particular university was founded by Gupta dynasty ruler. Gupta dynasty is one of the golden era of ancient India. So Kumar Gupta first had given the credit for its foundation. So under the Gupta dynasty, Kumar Gupta first was, you can say, the founder of this monastic university. And under the Gupta dynasty, the university start taking shape, and under lots of great patrons of the Gupta dynasty, the university was developing under them. So this is one of the greatest university of ancient world, I would say, and which was founded by Gupta emperor, that is Kumar Gupta first, under the Gupta dynasty. And in the Indian tradition and text, kings were called by many different names also. So Kumar Gupta first is also known as Sakraditya. His successor Buddha Gupta, Tathagat Gupta, Baladitya, and Vajra later on extended and expanded this great monastery by building big monasteries and temples. So that remains can be seen today inside the ruins when we will go for the walk tour. And then come the post-Gupta period, when the Gupta dynasty is over. Then one of the great dynasty flourished in North India, that is Harsha. So Harshavardhana was the founder of that dynasty, and Harshavardhana was one of the greatest patrons of this university, I would say, because Harshavardhana was a converted Buddhist. And since he was a converted Buddhist, he quite often used to visit Nalanda, and he felt very proud to serve the monk over there, you know. So he took a lot of interest to develop this university, and it is said he built 3 big temples over there, one of Shiva, of course of Buddha, and one of, I guess, Lakshmi also. So this big 3 temples were also built, along with some big monasteries. And according to Xuanzang actually visited during his particular reign period. He visited when Harshavardhana was ruling the North India. And it is said that when Harshavardhana came to know about Xuanzang visit to Nalanda, he also invited Xuanzang to visit his royal palace. And that's why Xuanzang gave a very detailed account about the Harshavardhana rules during his course of visit. And it is said he also participated in a debate contest where more than 500 wise people were there of different thoughts, and Xuanzang also participated in that debate. And according to Xuanzang, he also says that Harshavardhana, gave or ordered about 100 or 200 villages to give direct revenue to the university, so that not a single rupees of burden fall on the shoulder of those monks living in the university. That means the fooding and lodging was free in those days. And we get lots of information we will talk about also about Xuanzang or Xuanzang, both the same name, when we will take a walk tour over there. And then comes the Pala dynasty. Pala were also a very greatest patrons of this Nalanda University, who carry forward this legacy of Nalanda University. And under the Pala rulers, I would say it's reached at the highest level, at the zenith level, from 8th to 12th century BC, particularly under Devapala and Dharmapala. So under the Pala dynasty, lots of monasteries were built. And secondly, under the Pala dynasty, another thoughts of Buddhism also developed and reached at the highest level. That is what we call Vajrayana Buddhism, or popularly nowadays called Tibetan Buddhism. So we will talk about this also when we will continue to the walk tour. So under the Pala rules, Nalanda till 12th century reached to the highest level, and it is believed that 10,000 students and 2,000 teachers were accommodated in that university complex. So you can imagine how big the university has grown up under the Pala dynasty. And Pala rulers also built 4 more university in eastern India. Out of 4, 2 were built in Bihar, that we call Odantapuri. Odantapuri is the modern Bihar Sharif, my hometown, which is the now headquarters of Nalanda district. So Odantapuri, which is just 10 kilometer apart from distance from Nalanda. So Bihar Sharif is quite a big town in Bihar right now. So Odantapuri was developed under the Pala period. And of course, you must be knowing about Vikramshila. So Vikramshila, which is close to Bhagalpur region of Bihar. So that was also developed under the Pala rulers. And 2 more universities, it is called Somapura Bihar, which is in Bangladesh, and Jagatala, I guess. I'm forgetting the name, but it is Jagatala, I guess. So those 2 were in Bangladesh right now. So those 4 universities were just like a chapter of Nalanda University, because university was almost full, 2,000 teachers and 10,000 students. So even today, if you see a popular university have so many chapters, so many branches in different cities. Likewise, the Pala rulers, who have the rulers of Bengal, so they built four more chapters of Nalanda, that is Vikramshila, Dantapuri, Somapura Vihar, and Jagatala. Now, if I say about the university, I already said it is set up in three different dynasties by so many rulers of the three different dynasty, and by the zenith, by the 8th century to 12th century, it reached to the highest level. So let's talk about the library. Many of you must be knowing about Nalanda library, and both Xuanzang and Yitzing actually another Chinese traveler who visited Nalanda 30 years later when Xuanzang returned to China. So that is around 673 CE. Actually, Yitzing visited India, and in Yitzing spent 14 years in India. Out of that, 10 years he spent in Nalanda. So that's a very long time he gave to Nalanda. So lots of information we get also from Yitzing. So both Xuanzang and Yitzing has given the details of Nalanda library, and traditional Tibetan sources also mentioned the existence of the great library at Nalanda, and that Nalanda library was named as Dharmaganj. Popularly, it was called Dharmaganj, which was comprises of three large multi-story building. Okay, and those three libraries' name was Ratna Sagar, that is called Ocean of Jewel, and Ratnodhati, that is Sea of Jewel, and Ratna Ranjak, that is Jewel Adorned. So the Ratnodhati was a 9-story building according to those great historians and Chinese travelers, and that houses about exact collection of the book is still not known, but it is believed by the historians and lots of writers that over 9 million collections of books was there in this library buildings. That is huge in those days, and apart from that, lots of important sacred manuscripts was also placed in those libraries, including the Pranjaya Paramita Sutra, which is one of the most sacred sutras in Mahayana Buddhism. That is for perfection of wisdom. That is the meaning of Pranjaya Paramita Sutra. And Gyan Samaja Tantra, the whole concept of the Tibetan or Vajrayana Buddhisms based on this mandala tantra. So that sacred manuscripts were also kept in Nalanda, and it is also said that some of the important Upanishad scripts were also placed in that library. So according to Xuanzang, he also says that when a monk died at Nalanda, his contributions, that is all the manuscript what the scholars have added in those days, was also placed in that university. So it was such a big university, and it is said that Bakhtiyar Khilji, a Turkish invader of Delhi Sultanate under the Mamluk dynasty, invaded the university in 1193. So we will talk about that also, how he invaded and all. So it is said that when the university was burned, the library building was kept burning for 3 consecutive months because of the huge collection of those manuscripts in those 3 multi-story building. And somewhere you will read that the smokes came out for 6 consecutive months. I want to say that such a huge number of books collection was there. And in those days, we don't have paperwork, right? So mostly the manuscripts were written on bark, tree barks, leaves, cloths and all. So that's why it took long time to burn. and most of those original manuscripts unfortunately burned. Few of them carried by those monk who kept their life. So that can be seen in some of the old monasteries of Tibet and northeast India. When you go to Sikkim Rumtek University, you will find some manuscripts of Nalanda. So likewise, the library was there. Then comes to the curriculum. So what was taught in Nalanda? Lots of questions come in mind in those days. So according to Swenjang, and Swenjang or Wenshang states that all the student of Nalanda studied the Mahayana as well as the work of 18 Hinayana sects. So all these kind of studies were going on. Mostly it was a Buddhist, Mahavihara. So Buddhism was the main focus. But apart from that, the subjects like Vedas, logic, grammar, medicine, astrology, physics, maths, everything. I mean, in those days was taught in Nalanda. Most important, city planning also, law. So these kind of subjects were taught over there in Nalanda. And Xuanzang himself studied a number of these subjects at Nalanda under the Silbhadra. Silbhadra, when Xuanzang visited Nalanda as a student, Silbhadra was the head of that institution or the university, and under Silbhadra, in Nalanda, Wenshang or Xuanzang gathered all his important knowledge over there. And a student at the Nalanda Mahavihara had to be well versed in the system of logic. So logic was very important, art of debate was very important in those days. So logic associated with all the different schools of thoughts, you have to be in the master of that and thought of the time, as it is expected by the student of Nalanda then when the student go out from the university, he should defend the Buddhist system of thoughts against the others. So one have to be very much, one have to very much master in that subject. So that's why the school of logic, school of debate, art of debate was very important part of that institutions. So the curriculum, as I said, mostly all the subjects were taught apart from Buddhism, that is Mahayana and Vajrayana Buddhism. That is important. Administration, if you talk about, as per Rensang, when Rensang visited Nalanda to get admission, he says that, at the gate, the gatekeeper used to ask 5, questions, logical questions to check your IQ, So that was the system in Nalanda those days. Still today, when we want to get admission in some of these universities, we have to go through the entrance test. So at those days, there was no such entrance examination, but when you are entering to the premises of Nalanda to get admission, you have to go through those questions put by the gatekeeper, and Xuanzang also went through that. So according to him, that was the system of selection. It was very tough. I mean, he says that out of 10, 2 were selected. So you can imagine how the questions were put to those students, and that's how people used to get admission over there in the admission to get admission in the Nalanda University. So this was also we get information from Xuanzang. Now, if we talk about the administration, it is also said, according to Itzing, that there used to be lots of pools. So once a bell used to ring, everybody had to run toward the pool for bath. They used to take bath, and like we do every morning. So there also a system was there, and everybody has to go through that, and after that they has to come for the teaching purpose. And it is said that if you lose that opportunity of getting bath, then you will not, if you eat and then go for bath, then you will not get that opportunity to eat. I mean, you have to go for bath first, proper cleanliness, and then you have to come for the food. And then the different thoughts of different schools start running. There no such degree was given like today we have to complete target the 3-year degree course, 2-year degree course. No, there were no such time bounding. I mean, if you are choosing some particular subject, you have to be the master of that subject. There was no such time limitation. You have to choose that subjects, and you have to be the master of that subject. Okay, so oral traditions was there, one-to-one oral traditions. So there was a group of about 30 to 36 students were selected in one particular subject, and likewise they used to learn under their skilled teachers, knowledgeable teachers. So when we will visit the ruins part, you will find that a monastery will have about 32 to 36 cells, or somewhere if it's big, it goes to 42 cells. So that was a bunch of that numbers, I would say. So that was a, now comes to the historical figure associated with Nalanda. So historical figures, there were great number of people who were associated with Nalanda. Like if you start the the great figure himself was Xuanzang, Itsing, and before that, if you start Nagarjuna, Devapala, Shilabhadra, these were the great names and it is also said that Aryabhat was also the part of that institution. Once he was the head of that institution, somewhere you will read that. So there was a great number of people who were associated with Nalanda. Of course, if you can say your Padmasambhava, who later on went to Tibet and established the Vajrayana Buddhism there, what the Tibetans follows today. So there were great number of people who are associated with historical figure associated with Nalanda. And Nalanda in present Tibetan Buddhism, if you talk about, as I said, Padmasambhava had given credit to spread Buddhism in Himalayan region, especially Tibet. So Vajrayana is a branch, not a branch, but a part of Mahayana Buddhism actually. And if you say today, Vajrayana Buddhism, once Nalanda was the hub under the Pala ruler, okay? So this Vajrayana Buddhism concept developed during 7th century CE and flourished and reached to the highest level under the Pala rulers. And Pala rulers, since they were the converted Vajrayana Buddhists, so that's why they, carry forward this and spread to a greater extent in the eastern part of India. And Padmasambhava, who was invited with the king of Tibet over there in 7th century CE, so he established the monastery there and propagated the thoughts of Vajrayana Buddhism. And recently, when His Holiness Dalai Lama also visited Nalanda, he also says that Tibetan Buddhism is the continuation of Nalanda Buddhism. So this is a big statement he gave. So you can imagine how Nalanda was important for Vajrayana Buddhism especially. Now we have to, spoke about the concept of entire Nalanda establishment and the studies and all. Now lots of questions come in the mind how this massive universities was invaded and downfall. So I would say the downfall of this massive university was started under the end of Pala ruler, I would say, around 11th century CE onward. Because under the Pala ruler, Devapala and Dharmapala were one of the greatest patroness of this university. But after that, Ramapala was one of the strongest Pala ruler, the last strongest Pala ruler. And after his reign period over, slowly the downfall start. And downfall start because the whole concept of this Nalanda institutions was focused on Vajrayana Buddhism. So that was one reason. Secondly, when those great universities were built by the Pala ruler like Vikramsila, Udantapuri, Somapura, Bihar and all. So all those great renowned teachers of these particular universities were sent to those newly built universities also. So that was also one reason I would say. What I have, I mean, after study, I have got the conclusion that was also one reason that all those great teachers from Nalanda University shifted to those four newly built university. And since Vajrayana Buddhism was the prime or the principal study center here, so rest of those schools of thoughts like others school of or subjects were just they were not focusing much like it was in the early stage of the or mid stage of the mid stage of this institution. And finally, the final blow, Nalanda actually invaded three times in the history, but rebuilt two times. So the first invasion or first attack of Nalanda was done by Hunas, which were from Central Asia, I guess, under the leadership of Mihir Ullah in 455 to 467 AD during the reign period of Samudragupta. Okay, but after Samudragupta, the other successor of Gupta period rebuilt this university in a grand way by building big monasteries and temples. Second attack was done took place in the early 7th century CE by the Gaudas, Rajvans of Bengal. After that, the Buddhist king Harshavardhana rebuilt Nalanda, and this is how Nalanda rebuilt second time. But the final blow come under the most brutal way under the Bakhtiyar Khilji, Muhammad bin Bakhtiyar Khilji, who was the army chief of Delhi Sultanate under the Mamluk dynasty. In 1193, he attacked the university, and that was one of the most brutal attack of the history of Nalanda. And since then, Nalanda never revived because there was nothing left to restore or rebuild Nalanda. And that's why the history of Nalanda is almost finished by 1193 after the attack of the Bakhtiyar Khilji, because he killed thousands of monks over there, burned the university very badly. As I said, the library buildings were badly burned and smokes came out for 6 consecutive months. You will read somewhere, but 3 months the library was kept burning. And somewhere Nalanda lost after 1193 in the history. And this is just a coincidence then that one of the greatest university of ancient India was demolishing one of the greatest university of modern world was taking shape, that is the modern Oxford University, right? So that's how the invasion took place and Nalanda destroyed badly. So the institution, from the establishment till the Pala period, about 800 years, the University of Nalanda was flourished and reached to the highest level. And 1193 till 19th century, almost 800 years, it was buried under silt and mud, and nobody was knowing about Nalanda since then. Just in the history they were, but no existence of Nalanda was there. But credit must be given to the British archaeologist, Major General Sir Alexander Cunningham. He was the person who not just ordered excavation at Nalanda, but whatever we have, the major Buddhist sites we have in Bihar and eastern Uttar Pradesh, all the major Buddhist sites was explored by him, was excavated under his leadership, because he was the first Director General of Archaeological Survey of India under British India. So I would say this is the greatest gift of the British to the Buddhist world in 19th century CE, because from 1860-61, when he explored, a very interesting story is there. Alexander Cunningham, actually he was a Major General in British Army, but he had a lot of interest toward archaeology, especially the Buddhist studies. So that's why he read all those history, he consulted all those swings and diaries and maybe everything, and then he visited all those known places in the history, like Nalanda, Sharnath, even your Shravasti. Everywhere he visited, all the major Buddhist sites what we have today was visited by him, and he ordered excavation. So excavation of Nalanda took place from 1915 to 1937. This is the first phase of excavation, which took very long way. And third was from second phase was 74 to 82. And then we have a beautiful ruins came up. That is the excavated remains. You can see this is the bird eye view you can find. And if you can see my arrow on the, this is the whole 23rd, 23 hectares of land has been excavated. That is about a kilometer area, and under that 11 viharas and 6 temples were excavated. So if we will go to the virtual tour, and then you will find that north-south direction pedestrian way is there, and they divide the university into 2 parts. Eastern side is the series of monasteries. You can see the big blocks, rectangular or square shaped buildings are there. So those were the monastery side. And to the west of that is the temple series. So lots of ruins, about 5 ruins are there in front of the monastery. And 1 temple is just behind the monastery. That's temple number 2. We will see that in the later part of the tour. So this beautiful ruins came up that we are going to explore. I have taken some more pictures from the museum sites also. This is how Nalanda was looked like when it was buried under silt and mud under the earth. So when Alexander Cunningham visited this before excavation, he saw it just like a mound, and then he ordered excavation. And when he ordered excavation, the final and full-fledged excavation started from 1915 onward, as I said. The mound-like structure was started excavating, and these all are the pictures of the first phase of excavation from 1915 to 1937. So that's a big, very long years of excavation. And on the background, you can see the big mound-like structure. There is the Sariputta Stupa coming up. And this is one of these old pictures. And these are the old picture. This is the Avalokiteshvara they found during the excavation, which is kept in the Nalanda Museum. You will see that. So now the virtual tour start. Today, when I hope many of you must visited Nalanda. So this is the entrance gate of the Nalanda. Now we are entering to the university complex, and you will find that Archaeological Survey of India's board is there. Mostly all the historical places, monuments in India are taken care by the Archaeological Survey of India. So about 200-meter walk we have, and then we will enter to the premises of the university, main university ruins. And here you will find that in 2016, Nalanda finally got placed in the UNESCO list of heritage monument. That is a very proud moment for every Indians. That it was in July 15th, 2016, recently, in the 40th session of the UNESCO World Heritage Sites tag they got. So Nalanda, what does Nalanda mean actually? So Nalanda is made up of three words. If you split Sandhi Vichedi, if you do that, mostly you have mastered it in your schooling days, Sandhi Vichedi. So you split Nalanda, it will become Nalanda. So it means unstoppable flow of knowledge. No? So this is the meaning of Nalanda. And this is the history that we already talked about. You will get. Now, this is the present entrance of Nalanda. Nobody knows about the exact entrance because just 1/10 of the original site has been excavated. It is believed that the Nalanda was spread in 10 square kilometer of area. So I said that only 1 square kilometer of area has been excavated. So this is just the 1/10. So nobody knows exactly which was the entrance gate. This is the entrance gate. What you are seeing right now is, of course, archaeologist has carved out for the entry inside the ruins premises. So now we are entering, and you can see how massive brick structure it was. And the moment you will enter on the right side, you will find the monastery number 5, and just on the backyard is the monastery number 4. So I told you about the history. In the history, you have seen that there were 3 big major dynasty who took in, who built the university in so many phases by so many different kings. So here also you will find so many phases of constructions. For example, here you can see the first one, just like ditch, just like underground rooms can be seen over there. This one in the front row. So it is believed that it was the earliest structure under the Guptas. And those days, the rooms were used to be underground, below the ground level, so that in those days, even in winter, the room will be a bit more warmer, and even in hot climate or temperature, it will be a bit cooler. And as the new rulers came in under the different dynasty, and when it was attacked, I said also in during the Gupta period at the time of Samudragupta. So later, post successor of Samudragupta, they rebuilt this university. So they blocked that, and this is the entrance gate. Actually, you can see the cemented part, which is of course used by this archaeologist during the time of excavation. But that was the entrance gate. Over the earlier structure, the new structure was built. Okay, so they were not just like they built different way. Just similar series of construction was done over it. So that's why it can be seen in 2 to 3 level. Here you can see the staircases are there to reach on the second floor. So the monasteries was built in 2 to 3 story buildings. So these were under the Pala rulers. When they came in, they reconstructed over the original structure, and they these staircases can be seen to go on the top of that monastery. So this is how you can see the 2 different stages of building. First of the Gupta period and then of the Pala period. This is the bricks. So these all are the bricks, old bricks. You can see these are very thin, not like today's bricks, which is very thick in size and very short. But here you can see the length and breadth of the bricks were quite big and very thin. And now question may come into your mind that how they used to, because this entire Nalanda was built on the brick structure, only bricks you can see even today. So how they used to join these bricks, because today we have concrete, right? So in those days, they don't have the concrete. So in those days, they used to make a paste of 5 components like brick powder, lime, bale, wood apple fruits, which is a fruit which is very sticky, lentils, sugarcane. So these kind of stuffs, they used to make a paste of it, and they used to, join the bricks in those days. These all are new bricks you can see. Previously, Yeah. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, these are the old bricks, sorry, these are the old bricks, and now these all are the new bricks. So when the excavation was done by the Britishers, and after in 1972 to 76, the new bricks has been put on, so that will protect the original structure. Otherwise, rain or any natural balance, this can be washed out. That's why the new bricks has been put on. Now we are entering, you can see the massive building structure over there. Now we are entering inside the premises, and the moment you will reach inside the ruins, you will find the most imposing structure, the most massive building that is everywhere on Google or everywhere. If you find Nalanda, you will find that structure that is called the Sariputta, a stupa. So we will talk about that later on. First, we will learn through that map. This is the excavated remains of Nalanda. So here you will find these Nalanda's ruins has been divided into two parts. I told you earlier also. So in the middle, this is one pathway that divide these ruins into two. That pathway run from south to north. So from this pathway, if you see toward the eastern side, the series of 11 monasteries are there, which is in almost rectangular shape. So these all are monastery series. So 11 monasteries are there. And you can see in each monastery, there are small cells are there. So those were the rooms. So in one monastery, about 32 to 36 rooms were available there, and some were big one, up to 40 rooms were there. So every monastery have an entrance. You can see every monastery have an entrance toward the west. So this is the entrance, and all those small cells are the rooms. So one room were allocated for one monk, and we have central courtyard. You can see every monastery have a central courtyard, and in the central courtyard we have everything like well is there, the teaching platform is there, that dining hall is there. So I will take you to one or two monasteries so that you can see all those things inside the monastery. And on to the west of this monastery, we all have the series of temples that is called Chaitya. So now here, Stupa, Chaitya, Vihara, these are quite common words which will come quite often, and I hope everybody understand that. So just talk about Vihara. Vihara means the monasteries, okay, simple. Chaityas means, the worshipping place, I would say, temples, okay? The worshipping place, prayer hall is called Chaityas. And then stupas. So stupas are five kind, so in short, I will tell stupas are five kind. Stupa is a solid brick structure. So one is called relic stupa, where the relic of Buddha or the great teacher used to preserve. Like here we have a Sariputta, stupa. That means the relic of Sariputta is installed there. That's why it is called relic stupa. Another is called, another kind of stupa is called to commemorate some event, right? So whatever happened in the past, like Dhammika stupa, where Buddha delivered the first sermon. So to commemorate that event, the stupa was built. To commemorate also, the stupas were built, and some stupas were built to preserve the belongings of their master, that is Buddha or the great teachers, like robes or the begging bowls somewhere. And one stupa is called symbol stupa, where the stupas were built to symbolize something. Like when you go to the Barbadura stupa, that is built to symbolize, Buddhism. And third, last one is called votive stupa. So votive stupa is quite common. Every big temple you visit in Buddhism, like even in Nalanda also, Sarnath also, Kushinagar, or go to Mahabodhi temple, you will find plenty of votive stupas. So votive stupas are the stupas which were built by the devotees or the pilgrims for their religious purpose. Okay, so just to show their presence over there. So votive stupas are also seen a large number. Now we are going to the monastery number 1. This is one of the most important monastery in terms of excavation, because lots of things has come up over here from here. And the site was first to be excavated by ASI at Nalanda, and perhaps the most important monastery in that group of 11 monastery what we have today. And apart from yielding the largest number of findings such as seals, terracotta images, metal images, bronze images, stones, copper plates, inscriptions has been founded here that reveal that monasteries had gone through 9 phases of construction. And in this particular monastery, we have also got information that under the Devapala, the king of Sumatra, Sailendra, the king Sailendra has donated money to build a monastery over there. So this is a very important monastery. Let's go inside. This is the entrance of the monastery. And here you can see on the both sides, niches are carved out. So there, Buddha's images were kept on the both sides. So when monks were entering to a monastery, they used to bow down before entering to the monastery. And you can see how how massive the foundation of these buildings were used to be. You can see the entrance gate. This is the top view of that entrance, and you can see how massive is the foundation. This is about 8 feet, and the thickness is about 5 feet. So this is used to be very, very massive, because it was 2 to 3 story building. As I said, and as you know also, that this university was burned brutally by that Mir Muhammad bin Bakhtiyar Khilji. So still those burnt bricks can be seen inside the monastery number 1, and this is one of the evidence we can say also that the university was badly burned, and some of the burnt bricks can be seen in here. This is a huge corridor, and Nalanda was, and this monastery particularly will give you its architectural, beauty. And those days also the drainage system was one of the finest, in this particular university. You can see those drainages. And if you go straight to this corridor, on the southwest, you will find the staircases. These were the staircases which was on the normal ground floor, and this staircases used to go on the top of the 2nd story building. So those were built by the Pala rulers. So you can see the width of this particular staircases. It was so wide, so nicely built in those days. And this is the huge corridor, and to the right side is the series of monasteries, that is the room, sorry, not monastery, this is a series of rooms. So now we are going to see rooms, how it looks like in those days. And before that, you can see the drainage system again here, just in front of that rooms. So here is the room entrance. Now you can see this is again a very wide foundations is there, massive foundations are there. This is the entrance. There used to be the wooden gates used to be there, but since it was burnt, everything was burnt over there. The entrance on the left side, there is a small space which is kept for lamp burning, and on the right side you can again see on the right side also is spaces there, which is used to be for locker, just like today's locker system we have. So in those days, every student can keep safely their belongings in this locker system. It's hard to display you on virtual, but if you go to Nalanda sometime, you can find that locker systems is still very visible. And in the front, you can see some burnt bricks can be seen in this room also. Here is the room, and it is quite spacious in those days. It is said that the monks used to sleep on mat on the floor, and there a bookshelf are there, where they used to keep their important belongings, especially the books and all. And here you can see on the top, if you see the roof, you will find a similar structure again. The entrances are there. These are the entrances. The roof are there. So likewise, the multi-story building it was. So now, if you go to if you come forward, and then you will find a room over there. Now here you have to run your mind. You can see in the middle, it's a big, massive structure is there. So that was again built in different phase of construction. But if for a moment, if you eliminate, if you delete this structure from your mind, then you will find it is a big square shaped hall will come up, right? So this was actually a teaching classroom. And here you can see the stairs are there to, this is the teaching platform. So the teacher used these stairs to go on this on top. Even today, if you go to any university class, you will find that the teacher used to stand up, little bit up, proper shape. A platform is built to stand the professor so that he can give lectures. So likewise, similar kind of platform, raised platform were built over there. And these all are the broken pillars you can see. And just imagine that those pillars, rooftop buildings, high raised platform, and 30 to 35 monks used to sit in this hall, and they used to exchange or learn their subjects. So just that was very interesting way of communication in those days. So these are the teaching platform, raised teaching platform. On the backyard you can see those original brick structure, which is very thin, not like today's thick bricks. This is the dining hall, and this is used to be the oven, cooking oven. So here they used to cook, and this is a big dining hall. So to accommodate 30 students is quite a big area. I mean, here you can see that. So this is a quite big hall for dining. So the old monks used to stay in that particular monastery. As I said, normally 32 to 36 students used to stay in one monastery. So that's an ample area to have food. Here two rooms you can see. So this is used to be the granary, as I said, and as per Huensang, more than 200 villages were under the Harsha Period now were allowed to give direct charity to this university. So whatever they are getting it from these villages, they used to store here in the monastery's granary, you can say. To huge earthen jar has been excavated, which is kept in the museum. I will show you later. Some burnt rice has been excavated from here. So that's proof that it must be a granary in those days. And these are the wide staircases that take you on the top of the second story building, which was later on built by the Pala rulers. This is the top view. Now you can, this is the old picture I have put, because just to give you an exact idea how the university, one particular monastery used to be. This is, and now it's not allowed to move on the top of this particular ruins area because it is under the World Heritage. Earlier, people can walk on the top of the, and on the second story, there is still a very good set of rooms are there where you will find the bed, for the monks are in quite proper shape, still can be seen in those days. This is another, bird view, so that it will give you an idea. So just we have visited that particular monastery, that is monastery number 1. The well, every monastery have a well, for drinking purpose. That was the main source of drinking water. This is the Gupta remains temple had been founded over there. And this is a slab of mica. So mica has a very big, good property of brightness, and they have a very good reflection property. So if you in those days, this has used for copper plate. You can see these two small holes are there. So there they put the copper plate so that the reflections of the suns comes and they can light that particular temple where the statues of Buddha was kept. So that technique was used in those days. Every monastery have a shrines also, separate shrine just to worship and prayer. So this is another shrines which is founded inside the temple, monastery number 1, where a huge Buddha's statues has been founded in those days. You will find that this platform where some plaster has been still can be seen today. You can see the plaster, that is lime plaster, which was probably used by this Pala period. So when you come to Nalanda, lots of this lime plasters can be seen. So this raised platform where once used to be, houses the Buddha images, lime plaster can be seen. And now we are going out of this monastery, and this is another monastery, number 1A. So just the panoramic view I am giving you, and similar kind of structure. You can see the central courtyard, the cooking oven is there, kitchen is there, well is there, and the rooms which is in the rectangular shape, verandas are there, so everything is there. Now coming to this most important site, this is the Sariputta, Stupa popularly called. This is the most imposing or most iconic in the ruins complex, and it was gone through 7 phases of construction. So the 4th phase, or initially I told you that Ashoka came and initially built a stupa over here. So the 4 phase of constructions can't be seen properly, but 5th, 6th, and 7th phase of construction can easily be seen, and those 3 layers of staircases can be seen over here. You can see 2 beautiful tower is still in very good shape, which is of Gupta period. And these 3 layers, I told you, 5th, 6th, and 7th phase of constructions, and the staircases can be seen easily today. And those were used to go on the top. And according to Xuanzang, it says that on the top of this stupa, a huge colossal image of Buddha was there. So people, monks used to go over there for prayers, and this is the bird's eye view of that particular Sariputta stupa. This is at present 31 meters in height, but in those days it is said that it was up to 91 meters. So that was a very huge building. And this is just a conceptual reconstruction of temple number 3. So actually the stupa must be looking like that. The 4 pillars were there. So 2 pillars is still can be visible, which is in very good shape. So when we come on the backyard of this Sariputta stupa, you will find one of the pillar in very good and decorative phase. So this is of Gupta period, and lots of stucco images of Bodhisattva and Buddhas are still in very good shape. So this is how the 4 pillars were used to be in those days. Unfortunately, those 2 are still there, but 2 are lost badly. So there are lots of stucco images which is in very good shape of Gupta period can be seen. And these all are the votive stupa. As I said, votive stupas will be found near the main shrine, main temple. So wherever you go to the Buddhist site, these votive stupas can be seen. And votive stupa used to be, that's also showing the economical condition of that different time also. So now quickly we can walk toward this series of temples. These all are the votive stupa, and here some peculiar kind of votive stupas can be seen, which is looks like a chair. So mostly brick stupas can be seen, but here some stone stupas, and one is very peculiar in shape, is in chair shape. So one interesting legend, so story says that there was a king who used to be very cruel. He used to punish people, but during his last period of his time, he regret what he did whole life to the people. So it is believed that he carved out chair shaped where he used to sit, and donated over here as a regret. So this is how. And in the backyard of this particular votive stupa, lots of Buddha's images in different gestures and postures can be seen. This is an interesting part of that stupa, right? Now, this is a temple number 12, and this temple number 12 is one of the biggest temple of these present ruins, which is measured 50 into 52 meter of dimensions. So this is again went through two different phases of construction from Gupta period to Pala period, and this is where staircases you will take you to the top of this ruins of the temple, and still two beautiful carved pillar of Gupta period can be seen. And this is how the temple looks like, the ruins of this temple number 12. Now, this is another monastery we are just going through.
Neeraj Singh ji, we are running out time.
Just give me 5, that's why I'm running, 5 minutes.
Okay.
So just will give you a great idea how the monastery looks like. Here you can see the central courtyard, the kitchen is there, the well is there, the room surrounding. So that's how the monasteries look like, right? Gas can be seen over there, the well is there, the cooking hall is there. Now, this is the most important temple, a very interesting temple number 2 you can see, which is built again Gupta period. The specialty of this temple is there are 211 images which are of different birds, geometrical patterns, some Hindu god and goddesses are there. So this is very important for the photography lover. So more than 211 images. So now we are going out of the university, and one of the most popular songs of Bollywood in 1970 was shot over there. Oh Mere Raja, Johnny Mera Naam. So those who have seen the movie can so quickly just go to the museum part. This is Avalokiteshwar of Pala period, which is 1200. We have a lot of things to talk about, but since we don't have much time, but this is one of the most iconic image you will find, statue you will find inside the temple. I told you that 2 huge earthen jar was excavated, and this is kept in the museum. So 2 huge jar was there. Look at that, which is still in very good shape. And this is the replica of the seal of the Nalanda University of Pala period. It is written over there, Sri Nalanda Mahavihara Arya Vikhu Samvashya. So this is the seal replica. This is of the Gupta period. That was Pala period. This was Gupta period. The burnt rice can be seen over here, and some stucco images of Buddha. And this was the statue also founded from temple number 3. Now just give me 2 minutes more so that I can tell you about the revival of the new university. Actually, it was the dream of that late president, former president, Bharat Ratna, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. So when he visited Nalanda in 2006, he also delivered lecture in the joint session of Bihar Assembly and proposed an idea, why not to revive Nalanda again? And under his leadership and ideas, the new Nalanda University has revived exactly 800 years later. In 2013-14, the first batch of this university, is started, and some constructions work is still going on. More than 450 acres of land has been acquired, and this 2022, the first phase of the building will be completed, and by 2030, the whole university complex will be developed. It is believed so. So we hope that in coming days, the new Nalanda University will again, though it is a very long way to go, but I hope that the new Nalanda University will once again attract students from all over the world, as it has done in the 5th to 8th to 12th century CE. So thank you so much for listening to me. Thank you. Actually, Nalanda is too long topic, but still I have tried my best to give you in such short time. Thank you so much.
It was a great presentation, Neeraj ji. Everybody enjoyed, and one of the evidence I can tell you, whoever joined this, the presentation, the beginning, they are still alive here. So it means everybody enjoyed this wonderful presentation. We have time limit, but you know, it was really a wonderful presentation, and you show us especially the Nalanda excavated area. That was amazing. Some you know, the questions were coming from the participants, and Mr. Joshi, he asked why Bakhtiyar Khilji destroying Nalanda University.
Yeah, actually, that's a very interesting story is there. So because of time limit, I can't tell you much, but if you allow me,
a few words, please.
Sorry?
Can you explain it in few
Yeah,
words?
definitely. If you allow me, I will tell you.
Please go ahead.
There are lots of stories you will find that Bakhtiyar Khilji, why they have built. But personally, I would say that when there was expansion going on by the Islamic invaders, they normally targeted the intellectual places. You know, Nalanda was such a hub. And Nalanda is not just not a university; it's what a tradition. It was a culture of India. So they want to destroy that culture, that tradition. And though if you go through a storybook, you will you will read so many stories that in one story it is said that when Bakhtiyar Khilji fell sick, so he was about to die. So nobody cured him, especially. So when he came to know that there was lots of great, Ayurvedic teachers were there in Nalanda, so he asked them to invite him, and one of the great, Ayurvedic teacher visited that Bakhtiyar Khilji, but he said that I'm not going to eat anything from you, because he had, other traditions people. So he said, I will not eat anything, but you have to, make me fit again, make me healthy again. So it is said that that teacher gave a book of Quran and said that every day you just go through 2-3 pages every day. And every day, Bakhtiyar Khilji, they did the same thing, and he read the Quran in few weeks, and finally he get very physically fit, very cured of his disease. What once he was about to die, so he was very happy that how he cured me without giving anything yet. So actually on the pages of that Quran, the medicines was pasted. So when he turned the page and, taking that medicine by tongue, that's how he cured. So one popular tradition story is that, and when he came to know that it is from Nalanda, so he just get very furious that why our people, Islamic people, they don't have that, why these people have, but why don't our people have this, Ayurvedic system. So he invaded the place, and he wanted to find Quran in that library also, and it is said that he got nothing from that, and finally he wanted to destroy it. So this is one of the popular story you will find, but logically I told you.
Neeraj, many people, they are asking for the second session of this beautiful webinar series. Yeah, and of course, we will come back with the second session of this webinar series. But for now, thanks everyone to join this wonderful webinar. Stay safe, wear mask. Next Saturday, again, we will come at the same time, 11 o'clock, with different topic, Sikhism and the historical places in Sikhism. So please don't forget to join that webinar. That is also a wonderful webinar next Saturday, 11 a.m. same time on same platform. Thank you all. Thank you very much to join us.
Thank you.